The hills are alive with the sound of V6 turbo engines. It's round 10 here for the IRL F1 League, and I'm joined, as always, by Sab. It's Gareth and Sab in the commentary box. Once again, Monday night. How you doing, buddy?
Yeah, I'm good. I was hoping you were going to set off in a rendition of song there. That had been a rather interesting way of starting afternoon. Yes, you're right. We're at the Red Bull Ring this evening, fresh off a fantastic week of racing around the Singapore circuit last week. We had all sorts of action happening, not only in this league, but throughout the leagues as well. So definitely, if you haven't seen them, go check them out. There were safety cars galore and crashes, great overtakes. There's some super races to watch. But we are here tonight, F1 League. All eyes, I'd say, for myself, particularly, will be on Hercules tonight. He was absolutely superb last week, wasn't he, around Singapore? And looking tonight, me and yourself, Gareth, got the opportunity to have a brief glimpse at what Hercules can do around here. And it's safe to say that he's going to be very tough to beat tonight, isn't he?
Yeah, absolutely. You put it lightly, I imagine. There we've seen some absolutely electric laps from him in his practice sessions, and yeah, as you say, we were privy to going in and seeing what he was like, getting used to the track, and it's something that he said in the post race interviews last week, that it's a track that he enjoys, he feels comfortable with, and yes, as we say, he was absolutely on top form in the practice just a few days ago. So he is definitely a driver that will be looking at improving where he is on track continuously and where he is in the standings. And that is currently 17 points behind Jumpalainen. Jumpalainen, unfortunately, will not be joining us for the qualifying, well, at least for the qualifying session. We're hoping he may be able to get in and will become the rocket from the back of the pack. But that news there really shakes up this field, doesn't it? Because it almost puts pressure on both drivers. Obviously, Jumpalainen will want to be involved. He'll want to maintain this lead, but also this is huge for Hercules in his chase of the Finn at the top of the standings, isn't it? He's 17 points off. Of course, it's 15 points for a win, 1 point extra if you get the fastest lap. So that would close the gap to 1 if he was able to do the double this evening.
Yeah, definitely. And like you say, now John Pine looks set to be missing qualifying. Like the pressure is on Hercules. He knows he's going to have to try and get that pole position. And yeah, we've seen how well he's been in the practice sessions he's been. But when it matters, that's when the pressure really counts, doesn't it? Really, you can really feel it on your shoulders. And Hercules knows that if he can nail one of those laps tonight, he should be able to get hold of that pole position and start at the very front and try and get away, because then if John Pine does make it into the race, as you say, he'll be on fresh tyres. He'll be eager to try and make up those places he believes he should have been further ahead on. So, yeah, Hercules has got a real opportunity tonight, because if John Pine was qualifying and maybe got into the top 3, then it looked quite unlikely Hercules would, if it all went in order, Hercules would challenge for the championship. But now the door is slightly ajar, isn't it, on this championship? Yes, there's still that cushion of the moment for John Pine, but while this is door open, Hercules will be licking his lips, won't he, and trying to seize that opportunity. So for us, watching it tonight, it should make it an absolutely fantastic race.
Yeah, it really should. And the German is definitely eyeing up that winner's trophy this evening. It would close the gap as we head towards the final 2 races of the season, of course, in Brazil, and then heading to Mexico to round off the season. And somewhat exciting for the pack to close up the field. We always want to see the championship go down to the last few races of the season, and but I mean, apart from that, if Jumpalainen is able to make it to the race session this evening, and then if he does take the win from the back, we would imagine, and a non-score for Hercules would actually take the championship for Jumpalainen this evening. So if he is able to make it, and we see roles reversal, and we see the likes of the Finn come from the back to the win, and of course Hercules with a dramatic non-finish, that would win the title for Jumpalainen. Like I said, Hercules needs to outscore Jumpalainen in this race. Even if Jumpalainen makes it, he needs to close that gap. It's currently standing at 17 points. He needs to close up as much as possible as we head towards the final 2 races of the season. We'd like to say congratulations to Simon 118 as he completes tonight his 50th race here, so he goes on to his half century. So congratulations, Simon. The Swede is always well loved around here. He's a fantastic guy on and off track, and unfortunately we'll be losing him at the end of the season, which is a real shame, but he will be, I'm sure he'll be watching. A good guy to have around the community. But yeah, 50th race for Simon, and Hercules and Jumperline both looking at a 5th race win tonight if either one of them are able to make it, and that would put them 1 off of the all-time win record over a 12 race season held by 5 separate drivers across varying different leagues. So plenty of records still to be sorted here on the IRL F1 League. Of course, you can check them all out by going to the Hall of Fame section on the website invictusracingleague.com, and of course you can find us more on social media at Invictus Racing League on Facebook and Invictus RL on Twitter and Instagram. And Sab, will go back to the build-up for this evening. Austria, it's the quickest circuit on the calendar with lap time. We're expecting to see qualifying around about that 64-65 second mark. Can we see anyone dip into that 63 seconds?
Well, the only person I'd point the finger at with that is Hercules. We managed to see him do it in a practice yesterday. Can he do it, like I say, when it really counts tonight? That would be some achievement if he can. But with how quick this track is, you've got to be kind of mindful, haven't you, of coming out of the pits and not tripping up over anybody and getting anybody's way on a fast lap, because of how short the track is. It's easy to come out into traffic and easy to get yourself caught up into somebody's fastest lap. So hopefully none of the guys do that tonight and get themselves any penalties. We would hate to see that. But yeah, with Hercules, who you would say is the money on favourite, my question is for you then. We know Jean-Paul in qualifying at the moment. Who would you say has got a chance of trying to challenge for that podium tonight for the rest of the field that's going out onto the track shortly?
Well, we've seen the likes of the Warislander do very well in qualifying this season, and equally he's post up a video on his social media channels, so you can go and check them out there, that he's managed to get a decent lap in, although albeit it being time trial, which is very different to online. We know the times can differ, but it obviously shows that he's fairly comfortable around the circuit. He's enjoying the track limits. He knows where to put the car, so he's definitely a driver to look at in qualifying. And then also we've seen the fact that he's been a little bit off the pace in the races. It's one thing that he said that he'd like to improve on towards the end of this season into the next. It's something he needs to just get a grip on, because he has lost out a couple of decent positions with penalties and late incidents. We saw, of course, go back to the first race of the season in Hungary, where he was challenging with Jumperline for the victory into the last lap, and unfortunately spun out with, I believe it was a lap and a half to go. So yeah, it's things like that I'm sure he'll be looking at. And of course you can't misplace the likes of Harry, of Charlie, Speed Queen and Foxy Red 2000 as drivers that we can expect to be seen challenging up the front. But then last week, of course, it was a great race for the likes of Luke, who equally had not a great season so far. He'd really put himself up towards the top end of the field running around Singapore. So yeah, there's plenty of drivers that can really impress this evening, and it's one of those tracks. There's a lot of overtaking options, 3 DRS straights from the exit of turn 10 down to turn 1 up to turn 3, and of course 3 down to turn 4. So it's a very quick track. Lots of heavy braking zones that open up the option for overtaking moves around the inside or the outside. You can pretty much overtake around almost every single corner. It's only really 7 and 8 that you don't get an overtaking move done cleanly. So yeah, it can be all to play for with 14 drivers this evening.
It really can, and one thing as well we haven't really discussed is potentially we could get a mixture of rain in the air. Who knows? Austria normally brings up some random weather patterns, and whether it be in qualifying or the race, it could really spice things up and maybe equal the playing field out to become qualifying if we were to get a splash of rain in the air. So who knows what will happen. I'm sure these guys will be heading out to track shortly and we'll be able to see that. It's probably going to be glorious sunshine and ruled ruled out exactly what I've just said. And yeah, Warrislander. I think Warrislander is another one tonight who I think myself will be keeping an eye on. He's definitely shown the pace, hasn't he, in qualifying this season. Race trims just struggled slightly. He did pick up that podium, which I believe he did deserve. But for myself, I'd like to see him further up that field and maybe not get into many trips and overtakes and little bangs here and there. Just try and have a clean race and see what he can do when it is a clean race, and hopefully replicate that pace he has in qualifying into the race. So yeah, as you say, there's so many people tonight who could potentially sit up there on the front row of the grid with potentially Hercules. I don't want to say right now that it is going to be his pole position, because that would be wrong of me to say, but at the moment, who knows who's going to get pole position. But for me, heavy favourite has to be Hercules, and it'd be interesting to see who sits alongside him and who could potentially challenge him going into the first corner, second corner, and potentially get that drag up to the second corner and maybe have a move. So it's going to be fascinating to see not only qualifying but how these first few laps unfold as well, because if you can get some moves done, then you could be set for a good finish.
Yeah, absolutely, and like you say, it's you can, even if you don't get to the first corner in the lead, you've got a big long straight heading up the hill towards turn 3 to get back into the slipstream of the car in front, and so don't expect to see just Hercules disappear off into the distance on lap 1, although I'm sure that he's hoping that's the case. There will be plenty of options, I imagine, for a lot of drivers to make him rethink those that potential outcome. But yeah, I mean, we've got a couple of the guys readying up. Hopefully we'll be going to track soon. Sorry for a couple of the notifications coming up on the screen, guys. Unfortunately, I've got the invites coming in from the admin to get everyone in, so that's just so we can see everyone's coming in. But yeah, it's going to be a fantastic race this night. It's the Red Bull Ring, Austria, Spielberg. And first raced in 1970, where it was originally the Österreich Ring. It was won by Jackie Ickx and was an incredibly different circuit there and much, much harder than what we see today. Held until 1988, where it took a break and didn't return until the A1 Ring in 1996, until 2003, when it once again off the calendar until 2014, when it was bought out by Red Bull and renamed the Red Bull Ring. And we've raced here, and it is one of those tracks that if you grew up in the 80s and the 90s, it was one of those ones that I used to love watching the cars here, and especially in the 90s racing around here. Of course, you had that incredibly famous Michael Schumacher and Rubens Barrichello letting him pass on the line. That's one of the biggest controversies in F1 history, really. Pole position here, left side of the track on the racing line, but of course that does leave P2 the option of sending up the inside, but it's a very, very harsh right-hander, so it's going to be, you'd have to be brave and you'd have to make sure you're well within half a car's distance between yourself. And you can see here in Austria, it's looking as though it's a bright sunny day here in the just outside of the Alps, so it's yeah, the guys, I'm sure, will be delighted with that, as they won't have to worry about putting any intermediate tyres on any time soon. Distance turn 1 from that P1 position is 185 metres. It's a 4.3 kilometre circuit. That's 2.68 miles. It's the 4th shortest of the F1 calendar. Longest straight is around about 870 metres on the approach to turn 1. Top speed the guys will be doing here is around about 190 to 195 miles an hour. 66% full throttle over the lap distance. High ERS around here, a lot of straights, and of course you do get the chance to recover some of it on those heavy braking zones, but of course with being a very full throttle heavy circuit, these guys have really got to watch out for those ERS demands around here. It's 27 gear changes, however it's not particularly heavy on that gear change, and what have we got, 10 turns, 3 DRS zones, so as I said, plenty of options for overtaking and for a lot of mistakes. We see a lot of cars go wide, and that's why you see all those runoff areas these days. So Sab, the cars are heading out on track. We've got Charlie, Hercules, Meg, Warrislander, Harry and Burmeister out on track. Who are you going to go on board with first?
I'm currently riding on board with Harry. He should be where one of the first guys to start his flying lap is just coming around the final few corners now in his Williams car. Harry, who we know how quick Harry is, and here he goes now. He's going to head straight into the first car. I just want to say as well, can I do our typical bold prediction? Oh, we've got a yellow flag already in Sector 3, and it looks like from the track map it's a Mercedes at the second last corner. I just want to say, do you remember our very bold claims? Everybody seems to have gone out on a soft tyre except Meg on the medium. Does that mean we may be getting wet race? Who knows? But you know what we like when we predict those sort of things, you're usually completely wrong. So yeah, Harry now into the second sector. It's looking nice and clean and tidy so far for Harry. It'd be interesting how he gets on for this last sector here.
And we're just on board here with Hercules. He's out on track in Sector 2 on the soft tyres, so he is going for it straight off the bat, not worrying about going onto the harder, medium or hard tyres. You can see there it's a 44-second sector. He's coming up to the final 2 corners of the lap here. We'll see. Harry's going to come across the line instead of first time, does he?
No, he hasn't.
No. So he
ran wide. He ran wide on the final corner, and he invalidated. And one thing I just want to say, the new update that's brought us is with the track map on the right hand side now. I can keep on. The map goes red if they've invalidated whoever I'm following, which is really handy. So I was riding on board with Harry, and it was a superb lap right into that final corner, and he invalidated. That's really a bad start for Harry there.
Hercules to the top originally with 104.3, but we know he can go much faster than that. A lot of track evolution hopefully will be needed. We were on board, with Meg Lugby, his teammate. Warris Lander went second with 104.7. Meg does a 105.7, so on the medium tyres he's the second slower than his teammate. Oh, as he loses the back end out of turn 1, he does well to keep it out of the wall there, just on the outside of the Armco. I'm sure Meg will be appreciative. We always seem to catch him making mistakes. He always chastises me after the races. I always seem to catch him making these mistakes, and once again he just does a very nice job there. As we've got Sam unfortunately dropping there, so we'll see if we can get back in. We're board here with Simon on his 50th race here, and can he get himself up towards the top end of the grid next to his teammate in the sister Red Bull? Comes across the line, the Swede goes up into 4th position. It's a 105.6 flat for Simon.
It wasn't a bad lap there from Simon. It puts himself the slowest of the soft runners at the moment. We haven't really had many times, have we, at the moment? That's because a lot of people are running wide and getting invalidations at the moment. Harry, he's back into the pits now after giving up. I'm just riding on board at the moment with Speed Queen. She's just coming up to the final sector now. She's on the medium tyre in her Toro Rosso, so can she at least beat the time of Meg Luppy and try and get right up there and even get close enough past Simon on those soft tyres? She's coming around the final few corners now. What she does, she's nice and clean there, as always, from Speed Queen, and she pops herself up into 6th. She doesn't. Oh, well, in the end, it must have been a poor lap for herself because she's way down the order. So, yeah, hopefully for her sake, she'll probably be going again and seeing what she can do on those medium tyres.
Yeah, it's not a great lap from Speed Queen, a bit of a banker there. We're on board with White Fountain, the Belgian driver in the Haas. Of course, the Haas team currently leading the Constructors' Championship. That's Sam and Fountain. They lead by 13 points ahead of Jumperlinen's Racing Point, and just a few points back, 17 points back, is the Red Bull team of Simon and Hercules. The Constructors' Championship not out of reach though for several drivers. Williams still in with a chance, Red Bull still in with a chance, so it can go down to the wire in Mexico in 2 races time. And can Fountain get himself up? We know that he's a driver that does well in qualifying. He often leaves it late though, so we'll say if he sticks with this one. Of course, the red, yellow and black helmet, as always for the Belgian, runs perfectly around that final corner there, doesn't cut it at all. Can he get up into, unfortunately it's a 4.6, but it's an invalidated lap. That would have put him second on the grid, so he'll be a little bit frustrated with that one.
Much improved time from Speed Queen, but still a slightly down on where she probably expects to be. She did just done a 106.5, so I imagine her to be coming back into the pits and probably throwing on a set of those soft tyres. Just another point as well, Harry's now back out there on a fresh set of soft tyres. He'll be hoping to improve. He's on a second flying run now. I'm just riding on board with him. He's going into the second sector. He'll be hoping now that he could just... Oh no, he's slowed down. So he's not obviously happy with that run, and he's slowed down and allowed Hercules to pass. So yeah, a tough session so far for Harry.
Yeah, Harry currently in 13th position without a lap time set. You can see there's plenty of drivers that are yet to set a time. We're with Burmeister at the moment in the second sector. We'll quickly just see where Hercules is on track. He's a little bit further ahead. In fact, he's going a tenth faster on his time, so that's going to take him down to around about the 1:42 tenth of a second mark. Way wide at the last corner there. That's probably an invalidation for him. Is it? It is. So that would have been 2.5 tenths faster. So that was frustration for the German. He knows that he can go faster than that. Warislander can't improve on his time. He gets a couple of tenths faster, but not enough to challenge Hercules. Charlie up into third position. Burmeister does go fourth with a 1:04.962, so good time there for Burmeister. You can see everyone's seemingly starting to favour the soft tyre this evening. No one really going for those, although Klaas is out on the medium tyre. He's currently in 10th position, yet to set a time, but we've got 10 minutes left to go in the session, so plenty of time for these guys to make a slight change when it comes to strategy. As Klaas goes around the first corner, up the hill, DRS wide open on the Alfa Romeo as he heads up towards a very heavy braking zone, down to second gear, right up here at turn 3, slightly off camber, very easy to spin the rear tyres and kick the car around, so watch for that in the race. As Klaske heads down towards turn 4, all the way down the hill. Now the braking zone's just at the bottom of the hill, so it's very easy for the car to bottom out if the guys just put a little bit too much brake pressure on. But Klaske doing very nicely to keep it nice and tidy. And of course he's got plenty of time to come and do this lap and then come back in and put a set of softs on. So it's all about setting a bank of time. He's a little bit off the racing line there. You can see just misses the apex at turn 7. So that's going to put him off for turn 8, and then as we head down towards turn 9 and turn 10, can he does nicely not to run up too wide. Now it's the final corner, it's been catching a few out. He does run full 4 wheels over, but does the time count? It is. It's a 1:06.6, so that currently puts him 9th of the 9 people that have set a time so far.
It's a strange session so far, isn't it? There's a lot of guys at the moment still in the pit lane. A few of them now out on their outlap. I'm just riding on board with Beck 9000 at the moment in his Racing Point, soon to be Aston Martin, but that's a completely different story altogether. Beck 9000 now round the first corner, nicely done there. He's now heading down that long straight. He'll have a bit of a tow. He's got what looks like a Haas ahead of him, so that will help him no end. So yes, it's Sam who managed to rejoin back in the session. Sam nicely pulling out of the way there, not getting in the way of Beck 9000. Beck's not set a time yet, so this, if he keeps it on all 4 wheels on the track, will be his first flying lap, for his first time lap of the session. And yeah, Beck 9000, he does have the potential to get right up there. It'd be interesting to see how he does this evening.
Yep, Beck has, as you say, he's coming around the second sector now in that Racing Point. As you say, soon to become Aston Martin Racing, which is, well, cannot wait to talk about that one. You can find out more about that in the Final Word podcast, which will be returning in just a few months' time with Sab and I. So I'm sure that will be coming up in the first episode back as Beck rounds the final corner. What can he do? First lap on the soft tyres. The Racing Point goes up into 5th place. Great time there from Beck, 1:04.9. Before that, Meg Lugby, great lap from the second McLaren, gets himself up onto the second row of the grid, only 17 thousandths of a second behind Charlie, and Charlie 6/10 of a second behind Hercules. And for a driver that's been practicing with him quite closely over the last few days, he'll be disappointed to be that far behind. And look who's joined the session. He's managed to get in, so we are going to have jumper line and starting hopefully from the back of the field, and that means fresh tyres for the Finn heading down and through the well, I imagine Hercules is going to want to stay as far up the grid as possible and scamper away in the early stages, whilst Jumper Line is going to have to be fighting his way through this pack of drivers. On board with Sam in the Haas. Now he's managed to get back in. You can see nice turn-in speed, runs out slightly onto the run-off and the inside the curb. We've got a yellow in Sector 1 and Sector 2, probably slow cars. Sab, I'm sure you'll be able to check for this new track map,
Yep.
but you can see Sam now rounding the final corner, manages to keep all 4 tyres on the black stuff. What can he do? Put some stuff up onto the third road grid. It's 5th place, fractionally behind his teammate Fountain, who got up into 4th, displacing as both the Haas cars displaced Meg into 6th.
Hercules has just gone even faster as Warrisander has spun. Warrisander has spun going into the pit lane. Well, that's handy because there's a lot of grass there and managed to catch him. He didn't go into the wall, and handy that it was into the pit lane and not past the pit lane, and Warrisander easily being able to go back into the pits. But yes, Hercules has gone even faster now with a 104.133, so very close to that 63-second mark. That really is now setting the standard for everybody. But as you see there in second place is Harry. Harry finally getting a lap sorted, and he's up into second place with a 104.3. So at the moment, just 2/10 separate the top two, but that was a super lap there for Harry after a few failed attempts earlier.
Foxy Red crosses the line, does a 104.6, but he looked like he went very deep into the last corner. That 104.6 would have put him right up in the second, third row of the grid, so he'll be disappointed with that. That's another lap scrapped off for the Alfa Romeo driver, and he's only got 5 minutes to get back round and back into the pits and go for another time around. And what is Speed Queen doing? She's out there on the soft tyres. She's currently on a 105.6, but we'll be looking at improving that. She's currently in 12th position, and we were talking to her in the week, and she was just saying this season has just been a bit of a washout for her. She's not really had the best of times. She's had an issue with her force feedback in her wheel, which has caused a real issue when it comes to, of course, these guys that are running no assists, with feeling how the car is moving around the circuit, and it's been a bit of a problem for her. So hopefully we can get that sorted for next season for her, but if not, I'm sure she'll be coming back in F1 2020 much stronger. She's a 3-time former champion here, so it's very strange to see the likes of her and Scott, who unfortunately isn't with us this evening, but you've seen plenty of former champions here on Monday nights struggling with this. It's been a huge pace increase. You've seen the likes of Hercules come in, you've seen Harry and Jumperlinen. So these guys that we were so used to seeing towards the top end of the field and racing off and taking up victories, really struggling this season.
They have been, yeah. You likes of White Fountain and Sam, who we saw regular on the podiums in no assists, now struggling to sometimes get in the top 5. I'm currently right on board with Meg. I just want to point out he's about a 10.5 up at the moment. So, is this going to count? He's run very wide there. Is that going to count? No, he didn't. He did go quicker, but he didn't improve on his position. He went a couple of tenths up. I thought he was going to invalidate running wide, but lucky for him, he didn't. So he's improved on his time, but stays P7 in his McLaren.
His teammate, the Warrislander, currently sitting in third, has just crossed the line to start his what will be most likely final lap, and he took the first corner very, very aggressively there. So we'll see if he can stick with this one. He's currently a 10.5 up on his time, and the young Dutchman, very impressive in qualifying we've seen so far. We've got 3 minutes left to go in the session. He's trying to get out on track and set a time that's pretty much getting himself out of any trouble, because we know that, well, although we've only got 14, this track does start to get pretty congested, and you don't want to get caught in any unnecessary turbulence or wake of the car in front, getting yourself any sort of extra heat on those tyres, following some behind. So Warrislander doing probably the safe thing, getting out there early. Just gone through sector 2 now, just 2 more corners to get around to finish off this lap. Takes that inside corner very nicely indeed. Now, can he do it better around the final corner? A little bit slower, but can he improve on his time, get himself back up onto the front row? He does. It's a 1:04.351, 200ths of a second faster than Harry, Hercules, Harry and Charlie, now on outlaps. We've also got Sam, who's just gone up into 4th position, and 1:04.4 for the Haas drivers. So times are definitely starting to fall.
They really are, and the current pole position man now is starting his final fastest lap, well, hopefully his sake, his final run of the evening. What can he do? It's going to be fascinating to see. Can he navigate the first corner? He navigates the first corner fine. He's got White Fountain, who quite conveniently pulls out right in front of him, so that just gives him a slight toe running up to turn 2 here, and at the moment he's 4/100ths down on his previous time, so it's time to be made up here if he wants to sneak into that 103 bracket. He's heading down now. I always find this section, I don't know about you, but I always find this section... Oh, no, he's given up on the lap. He's given up on the lap, he's slowed right down, so we won't be seeing on this attempt anyway, unless he's saving the tyres, we won't be seeing any attempt at a 63-second lap there, as he's now pulling to one side to allow other cars behind to get past him.
Yeah, and it's Charlie who's currently in 5th position. You can see yellow flags are out for the slow cars. Charlie, he didn't look like he was put off too much by the slower cars, and I'm sure that'll be frustration for Hercules. You know he can do a 103. We've seen it in practice, but Charlie, can he get himself up towards the top end of the field? Currently in 5th. Charlie's going to come across the line, and he doesn't manage to improve. He only does a 10th faster, and that's a 104.467 for him. Hercules is, by the looks of it, is going to stick with it. I don't think he's going... Oh, he is going for a second lap.
Yeah,
so,
he is, yeah.
Well, this is interesting because this does put extra pressure on those tyres, and we know it's a track where you need to be careful. He's half a 10th up already, and the exit of the 3rd corner. Now he's got a little bit of DRS, and then he's got a little bit of a toe from Charlie, a good friend and a possible teammate for next season. So is there a little bit of inter-team play, a little bit of friendship play there, and from the two, as Hercules now gets a bit of a toe into the second sector and gets... This is where you want to have clean air, and he's got that. No cars in front of him. In fact, he's lost a bit of time. He's lost 0.04 of a second, so he's going to have to make up some pretty mega time over the final 2 corners if he is to dip into that 63-second mark. What can Hercules do? He's navigated the first, or the penultimate corner, and he's gone wide at the final. That's not going to be an increase, but he is currently... Well, he does go fast. Somehow that counted. As we can see here, it's looking as though everyone else... We've got Fountain, who's still on a lap. Where's Fountain? He's coming up to the line. He goes wide at the final corner as well. Frustration for Fountain. Crosses the line in 8th position. Meg Lugby equally. These cars, everyone's seemingly getting a little bit hot under the collar here with the last laps. Meg unable to... where he goes... What? 25 thousandths of a second faster, way wide at the final corner as well. So Meg in 9th position, but it is Hercules that has a 0.2 of a second advantage ahead of Warrislander, that did a fantastic job to get himself up onto the front row of the grid once again. Harry and Foxy Red back up in 3rd and 4th, and Harry's been saying all season long that his qualifying has not been up to scratch, so I'm sure he'll be pretty happy with himself there, getting up into 3rd. Foxy, Sam, Charlie. Good qualifying session for CPI. Alex, he seemed a little bit unknown there, up in 7th position. White Fountain in 8th. He won't be happy with that one at all. Meg in 9th. Burmeister rounds out the top 10 and starting on fresh tyres. Oh, was this a collision there between Meg Lugby and was that Force India there? But yeah, it was I believe starting outside the top 10 will be the likes of Speed Queen Beck. Who else was it? It was Simon Klasker, and of course Jumpalainen, who is due to join us in just a few moments time. But you can see a 104.109 takes pole position for the German ahead of the Warrislander in the McLaren, 0.242 of a second behind, as I said, Harry, Foxy, Sam, Charlie, Alex Fountain, Meg and Burmeister round out the top 10, with Beck, Klasker, Simon, Speed Queen in 14th position, and Jumpalainen will be rounding out the grid in 15th position in just a few moments time. And a pretty I'm sure we'd look at that in awe, being able to go that quick, a 140 or a 104.1. But you can imagine that underneath the visor, he'll be a little bit frustrated that he maybe didn't dip into that 63 second.
Yeah, definitely. It, like I say, I'd be very envious of that time. I'll be honest. I don't think I could ever go that quickly, and maybe putting that extra lap on those tyres might come back to bite him. I don't know personally. I just wanted to just point out as well, it was a struggle of a session, wasn't it, for Foxy and Harry? But in the end, those extra laps that they put out on the other tyres proved good for them, finishing up there in third and fourth place. It'll be fascinating to see. I'm very curious to see how Warrislander is going to approach the start of this race. He's going to have like we've put out earlier, he's going to have a real good opportunity to have a good attack on the Red Bull of Hercules going up into turn 2. Can he play it correctly? Because me personally, I wouldn't try and go for it in the first corner, because it's always tight, isn't it, into that first corner here, and you're quite susceptible to getting some front wing damage, or even worse, picking up some wheel damage, and you're out of the race. So will he play it safely and try and run up to that second corner and try and get a good toe, and then try a late move down the inside or around the outside? And John Polainen is definitely going to have to be one to watch tonight. How far through this field can he get? He's going to find it tough, because there's a lot of quick guys ahead of him, likes of White Fountain, Sam, and a few others as well. So it's not going to be easy pickings for him around here.
No, not at all. There's plenty of drivers all wanting to keep him behind, but of course, if he wants to maintain this gap in the championship, this 17-point advantage that he's got, he needs to fight his way through 14 other drivers ahead of him, and it's going to be an explosive race this evening. Hercules needs the victory to close the gap and take it to the final 2 races of the season. And of course, guys, this isn't the only race we have here at Invictus Racing League this week. Tomorrow night is the Realistic Performance League here in Austria. And then, of course, on Wednesday, 2 leagues. You've got the IRL F2 and F3 races. F2 covered by Warrislander, and Dan F3 by Malc. So, yeah, it's going to be plenty more racing here on the rest of the week, Tuesday and Wednesday. And then, of course, you can go to the website, invictusracingleague.com, get yourself on the grid for the next season. We're coming up to the end of this season as we start setting up for the next season. Go to the Apply to Race section and get yourself on the grid. Join the community here at IRL. It's a great one to be in, and it's a lot of fun. And hopefully we'll be able to see you all on the grid as we see the guys rolling off the line, heading around for their formation lap. And yeah, it's you can see it's Hercules, Warrislander, Harry, Foxy Red. They're all going to be eyeing up a decent toe heading up to turn 1, so or heading up to turn 3. Sorry, but Hercules, he's got to have an eye probably in the back of his head, isn't he? Because although we know that he's fast around here, but these guys will be bunched up at the start, heading up towards that heavy braking zone there at turn 3. We've often seen damage and an instance claw with the first real heavy braking zone on the lap. These guys here. Really kind of getting a little bit trigger happy with that throttle pedal, and that a little bit too late on that brake pedal. So we know just how much wing damage can hurt you around here. Especially in the second sector. So yeah, it's going to be a fascinating start for these guys.
It really is, and I just want to give you an update as well. This is quite interesting. So the outside of the top 10, the tyre choices are as follows. Beck 9000, the first of the guys to be able to pick tyres, is go with a hard tyre. The only person outside the top 10 to go with the hard tyre. Klaska, Zyman have gone on the mediums, and Speed Queen on the soft, so expect her to be quick. And John Polainen, the guy who we'll be all focusing on, he's out there on a set of mediums, so expect him to go much longer into this race than the softer running guys there. As we see now, Hercules is starting to form the good background now as it comes around the final corner. So yeah, interesting tyre choice there for Beck 9000. Expect him to go very long into this race.
Yeah, but of course he's going to take a few laps to get those up to temperature, unless he's been working extremely hard over this formation lap, weaving side to side. So we'll see if he might be a bit of a boat off the line. So that might help the likes of Jump Line on those medium tyres. But you can see all the cars peeling into their allotted grid slots. We're about to start the IRL F1 League here, round 10 in Austria. The engine notes are rising as we've got 1 light, 2, 3, 4, 5 red lights pours out, and it's a good start for Hercules, who's managed to hold off Warrislander. Warris isn't able to get alongside him. He pulls into the back, and it's a great getaway there from Hercules behind. We've got a 5-second penalty for contact with Simon with jumper Linen, so that's already hurt him. He's into 13th position, and we have a safety car after one corner.
Wow.
One corner, that may be the quickest safety car of all time. So
wow.
We can see the update with the safety car is definitely in full effect, and wow, the adrenaline would have been pumping through the veins of every single driver here. And after one corner, they're all going to have to take a little bit of a breather and relax. So, well, effectively, this race has now become a rolling start instead of a standing start, because we didn't really get much of a standing start. But yeah, well, what happened in that? We saw Jumperlinen having contact with Simon. Jumperlinen taking a 5-second penalty there, so he's going to have to serve that once we're back under green. Beck dropped to the back of the field, so he's in a 15th position now. He's dropped 4 positions. The only position that was changed was Foxy Red sending up the inside of Harry. And Sab, that's a very early call for the safety car to come out.
Wow, it is. I said to you, didn't I, off air, I'd like to potentially at some point see a safety car to mix things up, but I didn't want one that quickly. Beck, I just wanted to point out, has got significant front wing damage, and he's coming into the pits now, along with Simon, along with Jumperlinen. So it freaked me out a minute, I'll be honest, because I didn't expect to see Jumperlinen in that Renault, and I forget that he joined late and probably just allocated him the wrong car. But yeah, Jumperlinen has front wing damage, so does Simon, and so does Beck. So I didn't personally see what happened between those three, but it must have been something quite significant for Jumperlinen to get that penalty, and he's being held in the pits now for it. So that looks like to me that he's already served that 5-second penalty. He's been held, and he's away out behind Beck 9000 and Simon. So now, in theory, that 5-second penalty is the safety car has done him a favour, hasn't it? Because he's been able to serve that 5-second penalty literally straight away. He'll be able to catch up to the back of this queue now and not have to worry about it anymore. So that is a stroke of luck there for Jumperlinen. But again, I don't think Simon and Beck 9000 would have been too appreciative whatever happened there.
No, and luckily for these guys as well, under the safety car, and I imagine we'll see it for at least one more lap, unless it says it comes in the next corner or so. So I think we're going to expect to see it for one more lap. It's going to give the chance for the guys to catch up. It was a 20-second gap between themselves. We know it's a very short track around here, only 65 seconds during the race for a lap time. So under the safety car, they should easily cruise back up to the back of this train. So Jumperlinen has just managed to, although the status quo has now been resumed with Jumperlinen back in 15th position, he's managed to serve that penalty and put a new wing on. The only thing, of course, that does harm is the fact that he'd started on those fresh medium tyres, and that has just meant that he's had to he's now taken those off and put a set of the softs on, so he's going to have to make an extra stop on top of that. So yeah, it's a big call there for Jumperlinen, deciding that the soft tyre were far more favourable than going back onto another set of mediums or the hard tyres.
I agree, and I just want to raise a point that's similar to what Mike's has just said in the chat. I also didn't believe you can serve penalties under the safety car, but I was on board with Jumperlinen then, and he was stationary without his team working on that car for much longer than the other two. So just by my guesstimations, he must have served the penalty. But I do agree with what Mike says. I didn't think you could serve penalties under safety car conditions. So it'd be interesting to see if that is the case and it is served. But hopefully now the safety car will be coming in now. Everything does seem to be clear track debris wise, and everybody's back under power. So surely now we'll have the announcement as yes, there we go. Good timing there. Safety car is in this lap. So as you say, we'll now be getting a rolling start, and hopefully this time we'll get the proper race underway, and we'll be able to see what Warrislander and Foxy can do behind Hercules. Like you say, it was a good start, wasn't it, for Foxy? And now Hercules now starting to back the pack up, and here we go. What can he do? Oh, Charlie's retired. What on earth's happened there? Charlie is retired.
Charlie has had contact with Sam under the safety car restart, and Charlie retires from the race before we even go green, and we are green, and it's a good getaway once again for Hercules, who sends it into turn 1 unaffected by the restart. Warislander peels into the slipstream. You can see all the cars behind trying to sit in that slipstream. Warislander gets close to the Red Bull. Is he going to send down the inside into turn 3? Not quite close enough to get it done. But Foxy Red equally sitting very nicely behind that McLaren. He's going to have a good run down towards turn 4. Can Foxy go to the inside line? Warislander's not defending that inside, but once again, Foxy deciding better of it as well. So these guys sitting pretty at the moment. In fact, Foxy gets a much better run. He's going to get the inside line here into turn 6, and he takes the position. Great move then from Foxy. Caught Warislander napping, and frustration from Charlie. Contact as we saw the pack backing up, ready to go green, and it looks as though everyone must have folded up in the accordion, and get my tongue twisted there, like an accordion, and it's Hercules who leads us around for our first real proper green lap. And it's a 1:07.8 for him, so look to see that time come down. But yeah, starting to already break away, isn't he? 0.7 of a second, he's got it over Foxy in second position. Behind, it's smaller gaps will go on board with Jumper Line, and Jumper Line is sitting behind Speed Queen, and he's well in the tow of the Tauros behind Jumper Line, looking to the inside line. He's already up the inside, going into the braking zone. Renault up now into 12th position. He's made up 3 positions already, of course 2 on track, 1 with the retirement of Charlie, as behind Beck is equally looking the back of Speed Queen. He's going to go to the outside, and they're going to go side by side down into turn 4. Can we see it done between Beck? No, he's not going to have the traction on the exit of corner, so Speed Queen holds on to 13th.
So it looks like, as you were saying, I've had a brief chat with Charlie, and it looks like, as you were saying, just the whole pack just backed up all very quickly. And I think what's happened is it's just, unfortunately, Charlie's been the victim of it, and it's put him out of this race, and that is really bad news for him. He would have been hoping for much better this evening, and as you can see there, look, Hercules setting another fastest lap, and in the DRS is now enabled, but that's not going to affect him whatsoever, because he's already got a 1.5-second lead out on Fox Red, and Fox is now going to have to focus on the likes of Warislander and Harry behind, because they have managed to stay onto the back of that Alfa Romeo at the moment. So even though Fox is in second place at the moment, I'm not too envious of him at the moment, because he's going to be having a couple of very fast guys trying to challenge him for that second place in the next lap or 2.
Absolutely, and we've still got a battle going on between the likes of Harry, Warislander, and then behind Fountain, Alex, Meglugby and Burmeister, all close quarters. This is a track, of course, 3 DRS zones, so it's very easy to get trapped in that sort of DRS train. And we've got Speed Queen close up behind Zyman. Zyman now, we've seen him defending fantastically, but Speed Queen's got it up the inside, and she's going to put the car there. Zyman's going to try and stick it around the outside. They're going to go side by side. We've got the Racing Point trying to get involved. We're going to go 3 wide into the penultimate corner. This is brave, and Zyman just about holds his nerve and holds onto the position.
Wow. Oh, Speed Queen picks up a 3-second time penalty. You don't often see that flashing up, do you? I genuinely thought all 3 were going into that corner side by side then. Thankfully, they thought better of it and backed out, but now Zyman's going to be under severe pressure, as Beck 9000 is also putting the pressure on Speed Queen. Can Zyman, on those hard tyres, you got to remember, try and keep all this Speed Queen sending it down the inside? Oh God, they bang wheels, but Zyman, he's one for good defending, isn't he, Zyman? And he's managed to hold on once again now, and I can imagine this is starting to become incredibly frustrating for Speed Queen and Bet 9000. Zyman is now falling 2.5 seconds behind John Polainen in 11th.
Yeah, battling outside of the top 10 is never great, because of course you are costing yourself time with catching up to those guys that are inside the positions that get you points. And we've got this battle still going on between Harry, who's chasing down Foxy, but it looks as though Foxy has got a slightly slipperier setup compared to Harry, because Harry, even with DRS, is unable to really send it up the inside of the Alfa Romeo ahead. So Foxy Red 2000 currently sitting 0.3 of a second ahead of Harry. We'll see. Harry seems to get a good exit there out of turn 1, so this is a much better opportunity for the Williams driver. DRS open, but you can see there he's still not quite close enough to get a move done, so it's it seems as though Foxy's getting a good drive out of that first corner, and although he doesn't seem to have, or Harry had a much better exit out of turn 1, Foxy seems to have the advantage in the straight line, even with the DRS behind, giving the advantage to the Williams driver. Once again, Harry, red helmet, of course, inside that Williams car, having to stick behind Foxy, and will be frustrating because he'll just see Hercules disappearing to now what is almost 3 seconds up the road.
Just further back, I've been keeping an eye on Jean-Paul and his progress. He's now got past Klaska on the medium tyres. Jean-Paul up into 10th now, so he's in the points now, but he's got 3 seconds to make up now to Burmeister, who in the Ferrari. Burmeister running very closely to Meg and White Fountain, so if Jean-Paul can get a move on, he will soon find himself in this battle for 7th place at the moment. So Jean-Paul still got work to do on those soft tyres, but he's getting it done slowly but surely. It'd be interesting how much further he can get, remembering that he's still got to make another pit stop.
Here comes Harry. He's going to have an opportunity going around the outside. This would be a great move if he get this one done. Foxy's going to run him out wide, not give him any room on the exit. In fact, he just about gives him 4 wheels on the exit of the black stuff, but we can see we're looking back. We want to be looking forwards right now. There we go. We're back on board as we look at the rear end of the Alfa Romeo, and Harry all running out over the white line there, so that's going to cost him some time, and he does drop back a little bit from the Alfa Romeo. But yeah, he had another sniff up the inside, or the outside, sorry, around turn 3, not able to get the move done once again. Hercules lead now up to 3.7 seconds after 9 laps. So yeah, Hercules now starting to drive off into the distance and leave these guys behind. Oh, Warislander goes wide there into penultimate turn at turn 9, but he's still in 4th position. He'll be disappointed after dropping 2 positions from the start of the race, but he's still up there in a challenging position. You can see Sam and Alex, in fact, Alex doing very nicely. He's had a dreadful season from his standards so far, and I've just jinxed him, and he's unfortunately put it into what it looks like, put it into the wall with back under VSC.
Wow, yes, talk about commentator's curse. I don't mean to laugh at that. It's just so... it's just been a disappointing season, hasn't it, for Alex? We know he's much more capable of that. And I was going to bring up the fact that Meg had managed to get the move done on White Fountain nicely as well. White Fountain down to 10th place now. John Polainen up into 8th place, so taking advantage of Alex's DNF. So John Polainen, he's slowly starting to get there. He's still got Burmeister ahead of him. He's now decreased that time down to about 1.5 seconds. So he's getting the work done at the moment. And there you go. We've gone green again. DRS enabled. I think that's caught Burmeister out. That has caught Burmeister out. John Polainen seizing the advantage here. And John Polainen into the second last corner gets the move done on the Ferrari driver. Burmeister completely unaware that the virtual safety car had ended. He was just pretty much stationary on the track there, and that's allowed John Polainen to make an easy move. But Burmeister's coming back at him now. Can Burmeister get the move done? He does get the move done. Wow. Oh, they've touched. Burmeister and John Polainen have touched. They've put Burmeister into grass, and that's allowed John Polainen back into the lead. That could have been a huge accident there, and Burmeister did very well not to put it into the wall. But at the moment now, John Polainen is back in front. But yeah, that virtual safety car ending just really caught Burmeister out completely. The Ferrari, the Scarlet Ferrari, was pretty much stationary there. And John Polainen said, "Thank you very much," but Burmeister wasn't giving it up that easily. And yeah, we had a super mini battle there between them two. But that has allowed now John Polainen to go up to P6, and with his sights now firmly set on the Papaya McLaren of Meg Luppy in 5th place with 1.5 seconds up the road.
He is making some moves as John Polainen, and he is up into 6th position, and he's in the Renault this evening, actually part of the Racing Point team, so don't be discouraged by the fact that he's in a different car. He is making his way forward. You can see now he's closing that gap between himself and Meg Lugby, so that gap is coming down corner to corner. Burmeister's still trying to stick with John Polainen, and I'm sure the Dutchman will be frustrated about losing that position and being caught out. And whilst that was all going on, Warislander was the first one to dip into the pit lane and come off of those soft tyres that he started on. So he's decided to try and undercut the entire field. So it's going to be, well, it's a little bit of a strategy call there from from Warislander, sorry. So he's currently in 13th position. Speed Queen gets ahead of Beck over 11th and 12th as they're fighting a little bit further back on the track. You can see it's still a almost 5-second gap now for Hercules.
Yes, it is. Hercules is doing exactly as Sam. Sam picks up now 3-second time penalty. I'm staying on board with Jean-Paul because it seems to be where all the action is at the moment, and he's now half a second behind Meg. And Meg coming into the pits. Meg is coming into the pits, so Meg thought better of it, and he's coming straight into the pits, and you would assume. Oh, there's a big lock up there, and he just about avoids a drive-through for speeding in the pit lanes. But that doesn't now allow Jean-Paul some clean air. And next up the road is the Haas driver of Sam as Warislander. There you go. It just shows you what those medium tyres can do. Warislander sets the fastest lap of the race with 1:07.4. So Warislander will definitely be one to keep an eye on at the moment. As Beck 9000 has lost it at the first corner. He was facing the wrong way at the first corner. I don't know how that's happened. He was all on his own, and now suddenly Beck 9000 on 11 lap soft tyres. It's just gone from bad to worse from him, and now he's found himself dead last in 13th place.
Yep, he is down in 13th after that mistake, but still recoverable, because we know that the safety car can probably come out at any notice now. You can see Jumperline now up into 5th position. He is due to make another stop, of course, as Foxy picks up 3 seconds in 2nd position. So, yeah, he's not going to be helped too much with that at the end of the race. We know that penalties as Sam picks up a 5-second penalty speeding into the pit lane. It's a very quick pit lane here, and he's just been caught out with that braking point right at the end of it. And Harry still sitting behind Foxy, just lap for lap, cannot seem to get the move done into any of the 3 DRS zones, and he'll be just, you can tell just how frustrating it'll be knowing that you can probably clear them, but Foxy having a much better adaptive setup with his downforce levels here, and is just about keeping him ahead even with that DRS advantage, and they are hemorrhaging time to Hercules, who's really starting to pull away. But behind them, Jumperline now up into 4th position. Of course, he has to stop again. Made that stop on the first lap that after we had a safety car after about 9 seconds of the race. I'll have to go back and count, but it does feel like it was around about that time. But behind, we've now got a battle with Warislander, who's cleared Speed Queen and Fountain. Those two yet to stop. They're in 8th and 9th position. Meg in 10th, of course, picking up the last point. As into the pit lane comes Hercules and Harry.
Yes, indeed. And Warislander now, I'm riding on board with Warislander. He runs very wide there. He's got Simon ahead of him. Where is this going to put Warislander? Warislander now coming across the line with a nice toe from Simon. That's going to at least jump him Harry, which it does. Warislander now is... Yes, I thought I lost track of Hercules for a second there. I thought he was ahead of Hercules, but no. Hercules' teammate Simon is under massive pressure now from Warislander. Warislander around the outside. Simon on those hard tyres, and Warislander makes easy work of it, and Warislander now into a net P2 now, 2.5 seconds behind Hercules. So those medium tyres have done him the world of good, but let's just hope he hasn't took too much life out of them too early in this race, because he's already 4 laps into this stint with those tyres, and I'd hate to have seen him take all the life out of them early on to try and build that bridge that gap and watch him fall away later on in the race. So hopefully, oh dear, if it goes from bad to worse, does it for Foxy? He earlier picked up a 3-second time penalty for multiple warnings. Now he's picked up a 5-second penalty for speeding in the pit lane. So that is a bit of a disaster there for Foxy Red. So in theory, this should put Harry in the driving seat on Foxy, as now he gets the move done, Harry, on Speed Queen into the first corner. Where is Foxy? Foxy's just come out behind that battle between Speed Queen and Harry. So yeah, Foxy suffering ever so slightly for what he's achieved so far, and he's now dropped down the field slightly.
Yeah, I'm sure he'll be gutted with that, because it's been a good race so far for Foxy, but 2 quick penalties, a 3-second and then a 5-second, is really going to hurt him and possibly cost him a chance to get on the podium with the likes of Warislander and Harry doing very nicely indeed. So you can see there a lock up behind for Foxy in the Alfa Romeo as he came up behind Speed Queen. Of course, Speed Queen and Klaska, the only two yet to stop, and they're currently in 2nd and 7th position. Jumper line, and that's obviously usual to see him at the top. Although he has made that stop, he needs to make another. And so we can see Harry absolutely on a charge on these fresh tyres, starting to close up to the back of Simon. And of course Simon was another one of those drivers who made a stop on the first lap with that contact between himself, Jumperline, and Beck 9000. Harry, can he make the move on Simon that he made on Speed Queen a lap ago? Not quite. He's decided against it into turn 1. He's going to line up the Red Bull on the exit. In fact, he gets a really good exit out of turn 1 as Burmeister picks up 3 seconds. Harry already past the Red Bulls. We get up to the braking zone into turn 3 here. In fact, he goes out deep. That's going to cost him about a second or so, but just about manages to hold off Simon, who's going to sit in the toe of the Williams and just has a peek to the inside, decides better of it. And behind, you can see Foxy Red trying to make up for lost time, really starting to pressurise the Red Bull.
It's been so far anyway, it's been another tough race for the Haas team, hasn't it? We've seen for a few races now the Haas team have really struggled. Currently down in 11th and 12th. We've got a yellow flag in sector 2.
It's Simon has gone, yes. There was contact between Simon and Foxy Red on the exit of turn 6, and the two went side by side. Simon got off into the gravel, and once you got onto the gravel, he then lost a little bit of control, got onto the grass, and as soon as you're getting on the grass and get your tyres all dirty, as you can see here, he's coming into the box, deciding to come off these tyres, and the Swede not enjoying that, as though it's going to have cost him a little bit of time, so I'm sure he'll be frustrated. We've got a yellow in sector 3 now, and it's retirement for Simon. Frustration for him. We've now got Hercules with Klaska. He's just cleared the Dane, and he's now in 2nd position, and he's already 4 seconds behind Jumperlinen, so it's going to put him almost a pit stop ahead of Jumperlinen, of course, yet to make another stop, which I'm sure he'll be doing in the next few laps. But yeah, Hercules on an absolute different planet to everyone else this evening.
It really is, and I just want to point out as well, we've now got roles reversed, because now Foxy is hot on the tail of Harry. We've seen quite often so far in the beginning parts of this race, it was Harry pressurising Foxy. Well, now it's Foxy's turn to try and upset and put off that Williams driver. He's within DRS, and there you go. It shows you Harry's trying all he can to try and pull away from Foxy. He sets the new fastest lap of the race, but Foxy is still within DRS range, so Foxy will now, running up to turn 2, have a good run at Harry, but unfortunately for him, he won't be close enough. But yeah, this will be interesting now, because like you say, does Foxy have a setup set for the straight line speed? And if he does, he could prove to be quite the slippery character for Harry to try and deal with now, because Harry will be wanting to try and catch up with the likes of Warrislander, but he'll not be needing Foxy, who's got those penalties, causing him trouble from behind. And at the moment, this is just going to ruin their race, so to speak, isn't it? Because while them two are battling, it's allowing the likes of Warrislanders to get away from this battle.
There's contact between Burmeister and Meg Lugby in the 2 spin out of 7th and 8th position. It was the under and over trick for Burmeister. They tried going side by side into turn 6. There was contact between the front right of the McLaren and the rear left of the Ferrari, and both into opposite gravel traps on the other side, or either side of the track, and that's allowed Sam up into 7th position, I believe. And yeah, really unfortunate for Burmeister. They were having a little battle of their own between the two, and yeah, it's unfortunately not worked out in either one's favour. We've now got Warrislander closed in on the Alfa Romeo of Klaska. Klaska, of course, the only one yet to stop, and this looks like a formality. Down the inside goes the McLaren into turn 4 and up into 2nd position, back on track. And in fact, he's got a nice gap between himself and Harry after that undercut. But as you say, he's got a little bit of work to do to maintain it, due to those tyres being a lot older than we see the likes of Harry and Foxy. And as you said, it's a role reversal for Foxy, who seems to have the advantage on straight line speed for Harry. So Harry might have his hands full with an Alfa Romeo, as he's currently sandwiched between what will be a slow one and an incredibly quick one.
We should have seen this coming. So John Polainen has now pitted. He did 16 laps on those soft tyres, and he's pitted in for another set of soft tyres. So imagine this is going to be a very aggressive final 15 laps or so of the race for John Polainen. You'd imagine he's going to be lightning in a bottle on those soft tyres. The guys ahead of him are on 7-8 lap old tyres at the moment. So John Polainen has a real opportunity here now to try and at least fight for a podium place here. You've got Klaska up there at the minute. You imagine he's still got to pit. So that's another place gone, and with only 2.5 seconds behind Sam at the moment. Sam, I believe, also has a penalty as well. John Polainen has put himself in a prime position here to potentially steal a podium, and what a podium that would be for not only for himself tonight but for his championship contentions as well. So John Polainen will be definitely one to watch now on those soft tyres, brand new soft tyres.
That would be 2 races in a row, wouldn't it? Because last week, of course, he had that spin in qualifying where he had to fight through the pack and picked up a unlikely penalty. Oh, as Foxy goes very wide into the penultimate corner, got all out of shape. The back end wanted to go off into a different direction, and unfortunately, the front end just about held on to it. So Foxy, he's lost a little bit of time. You can see those sort of tyre temps has gone a little bit high. John Polainen does a fast lap, of course, on those fresh softs, 106.9. So he is, as you say, on a charge now, only 1.2 seconds behind Sam, and yeah, that's going to be a bit of a handful for Sam to keep the Renault behind and keep the current points leader behind. Just ahead, Warrislander, he's closing that gap between himself and Hercules. So Hercules possibly just taking it off the boil a little bit, just looking after those tyres, making sure they get to the end. That 5-second gap is now down to 4 seconds.
Warrislander, I have to say, I asked for it, didn't I, at the beginning, and Warrislander at the moment, touch wood, Warrislander is having one of those races I was hoping for. He's raced cleanly tonight. He's done exactly what I thought he could do, and so far P2 is looking very strong for him, and if he can keep this up at the moment and he hasn't took too much life of those tyres, a podium is what he would deserve. But he's got to bear in mind that now Harry is less than 2 seconds behind him now. It was about 2.5 seconds. Harry now 1.7 seconds, and he's bringing along a fast Foxy Red as well. So not all confirmed for Warrislander yet. He definitely needs to keep an eye on that battle behind, but it's so far so good for the McLaren driver.
Here comes John Polainen on Sam. He's got a much better exit, much better tyres. He's going to send it to the inside. Can he get it slowed down? He does very nicely indeed, very heavy on the brake pedal there. The brake disc glowing orange in that Renault, but he gets it slowed down up into 5th position, and it's now a little bit of a gap between himself and Foxy Red, but we'll see if he can close him on these fresh tyres compared to those 7-lap-old mediums that Foxy and Harry are currently running. But yeah, John Polainen making up for lost time, and it is just remarkable how much he's able just to come back from adversity, starting at the back, pitting on the first lap as Warris picks up 3 seconds. But yeah, John Polainen starts at the back, pits on the first lap, picks up a 5-second penalty. He's still up in 5th position with 12 laps left to go in the race, and well, as you say, in a shout with a podium position. If he can keep this pace going, he's going to have to look after those tyres, because they will start to go off in about 8 or 9 laps time, so the time will start to scrub off from them lap by lap, of course. But he's starting to go well, pulling a gap out between himself and Sam. Sam's just going to have to try and stay in the DRS of the car ahead. And yeah, it was Meg then picks up 3 seconds. He's down in 9th position after that contact between himself and Burmeister. They're still battling out over 8th and 9th position. So that battle, although they've both spent time in the gravel, is still going on. And guys, if you're enjoying it tonight, make sure you press that like button. And if you're not already, make sure you're subscribed to the channel for more racing here in Invictus. Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday. Every week we're providing racing here on F1 2019. Helps us out massively. Like it, and of course, if you're enjoying it, drop into the comments during the race or afterwards. Let us know what you enjoyed, what you didn't enjoy, what you'd like to see, and what you'd like us to improve on. Always good to hear from you guys. And equally, if you're enjoying us, make sure you check us out, InvictusRacingLeague.com, Invictus RL on Twitter and Instagram, and Invictus Racing League on Facebook for all things such as hot laps, qualifying laps, or photo albums, and of all of our Hall of Fame records that get updated weekly by our wonderful admin team. So yeah, it's a fantastic way to get yourself involved with the league. We've got a battle here going on between Foxy Red Harry and now the Warrislander, as Harry's now close right up to Warris, who's dropped back a second and a bit from Hercules. So Harry's now closing in on Warris, and those tyres probably are starting to lose their edge. Of course, 4 laps extra for Warrislander's tyres compared to Harry. So Harry does have a pretty... Foxy picks up another 3 seconds there. So just pushing too hard, trying to stay on the back of this train as they catch up to Warrislander. So it's all about keeping consistent now, because you don't want to go and pick up any silly late penalties. As you can see, runs out wide there on the penultimate corner again. And of course, 15 seconds of penalties here is a disqualification, but he is nicely into the toe of Harry. Harry pulls to the inside and blocks the inside line. He's going to make Foxy go the long way around the outside. Foxy's going to try and think about getting a better launch out of turn 1. He's going to go to the outside line. There's contact between the two as we got onto the straight, and that's somehow both of them have managed to keep it into a straight line. Harry pulls to the outside, tries to just block off the move. This is getting a bit testy between the two.
Oh, isn't it, Justin? It's giving Warrislander a nice bit of a breather there. Warrislander looked under immense pressure from Harry, and now Harry, thinking now he's got the DRS, would have an opportunity to steal second place, is suddenly getting a real headache from the Alfa Romeo driver, isn't he? But Foxy now, with that 6 seconds, it's only inviting John Polainen to steal that place off him. John Polainen just over 7 seconds behind this battling pack at the moment. So, yeah, it's really bad luck for Foxy, and at the moment as it stands, I'd say Foxy is probably not going to get a podium place tonight, which would be a real shame for him, because he's battled well all evening, and at the moment, while Harry and Foxy keep doing what they're doing, like I say, it's just allowing Warrislander, even though Harry does have the DRS on him, it's just allowing Warrislander just to breathe a bit easier and just look after those tyres somewhat. But now Harry will have his sights once again on Foxy, but he knows now that Foxy is going to try once again. But luckily for Harry, it's not going to be quite as close as it was last lap.
No, it's not, as he manages to get unscathed through turn 3. But yeah, Foxy, he'll be disappointed to drop back off the podium. Not been back to the podium since the first race of the season, where he picked up a second place finish in Hungary. You can see locking up the brakes there on the exit, or the entry to turn 4, as Harry's once again closed right up to the Warrislander, and Warris is going to have a lot to deal with, I'd imagine, over the the end of this race. We've got 8 laps left to go. As you can see, both Harry and Foxy, although Foxy's sitting on quite a few penalties, do have much better tyres than Warrislander, and Warrislander's going to start to struggle. That gap between himself and Hercules now up to 5.4 seconds. Jumper Linen's now got that gap from 8.5 down to 6.7 seconds. Foxy Red is lining up Harry once again. He's going to make the move to the inside. No, he peels to the inside, tries to get into the eye line of Harry, and in fact what he's done is he's forced the Williams into a mistake, and he's got up the inside. Harry peels into the slipstream to try and get a move back up the inside. Foxy closes down the inside line, so Harry's going to go around the outside. He's going to run him just about to the edge of the track, but these two swapping positions again and again. Foxy's still on the inside line. He's going to think about it. He swaps to the outside, then cuts back at the last second. He's going to send it. This is going to be close between contact between the two, but he holds on to it. Fantastic racing between the pair, and these two swapping positions. Warrislander's going to be absolutely terrified because he's just seen cars moving around behind him, but these two having an absolutely worldly battle.
Warrislander surely must be thinking there's at least 10 cars behind him. The way they were weaving about and swapping positions, that was incredible drive from the pair of them, Foxy and Harry. And yes, they banged wheels, and yes, they were swapping places, and literally at one point swapping race gloves. They were that close. But it just shows you what sort of standards we have here, that they were able to race that hard and fair in the end. And it turns out Foxy now has the upper hand, and now it's Foxy's turn now to try and have a go at Warrislander. Can Foxy, looks like he has a much better run on Warrislander, can he? Surely not. No, I thought he was going to send one down the inside then, but definitely thought better of it. And Warrislander now, he'll have an Alfa Romeo filling up his wing mirrors now, and Harry has just fallen back slightly, hasn't he, from this? He's half a second behind at the moment, but this is only allowing Jean Polainen to catch up. Jean Polainen now just about 6 seconds off this pack with 7 laps to go on those soft tyres, so all favouring Jumper for at least potential podium place here.
It is, but those tyres will be hurting at the end of this race with Jumper, so although Sam is behind, and in fact Sam's dropped about 4.5 seconds to Jumper, so that shows you just the difference between fresh softs and used mediums, but we'll see if Sam can come back at him late in the race. These three still battling it out. Warrislander still holding on to second position. Foxy Red is closing in. You can see there Warrislander is just peeling to the inside, just making sure that Foxy didn't have any thought about sending it into turn one. He was far too far away to get that one done, but he's closing. Can he get this one done? Warris is on the inside. He's going to put the Alfa Romeo on the outside line. Is it going to be the under and over for Foxy Red? He's going to try and take the inside line, but no, Warrislander covers that one as well, so we're going to go right. You can see you can put a cigarette paper between the three cars, and here goes Foxy round the outside. Harry's going to think about it as well, but it's going to be contact between the two, just side pod to tip, but that's going to allow Harry, who unfortunately got the power down too early, and you can see we're all now still too wide around this exit. Keep it off the gravel here, and very easy to get onto the bumps on the exit of that rumble strip there and get the car airborne, but we're just about holding on to the status quo with Warrislander holding off from Foxy and Harry. This battle is absolutely superb.
It really is, and I imagine it's going to go all the way to the checkered flag, and hopefully for our sake and everybody watching that it does. It's been absolutely fascinating. Like you say, Harry, earlier on, he got an almighty snap, and he did really well to keep hold of that Williams and not bin it. So now we're on for what seems to be, we've got a yellow flag in Sector 3, and it's a slow... Oh, dear. Unfortunately, it's Meg Luppy. Meg Luppy is out of this race. He's just waiting. Well, he's not out of this race. He looks like he's just waiting for cars to pass him, and now he does get back out on track. And unfortunately, it's been another tough race for Meg. As we head back to this battle once again, and Foxy just not quite close enough this time to Warris, is he? And Foxy is squirming all over the track there. And does that allow Harry any opportunity? No, it doesn't. But yeah, I don't know where these are going to end up at the minute. They could find themselves swapping more positions, but Warrislander somehow at the moment is still saying in P2.
Meg Luppy unfortunately dropping down to 12th place with that pit stop that's late on, and that's going to drop him outside the points. It was a real shame for him. It was a decent qualifying session and a good race. After fighting back after that spin with Burmeister, he was still picking up some good points, but he's down in 12th position now outside, and that's put the likes of Speed Queen and Fountain back up to points. And as you say, the two Haas cars not really enjoying it this evening. Sam in 6th position, Fountain once again down to the bottom end of the top 10. We've got this battle still once again re-engaged between Foxy, who's going to peel to the outside once again for the third lap in the road. Can he go under and over? Harry very, very close to finding the inner workings of that Alfa Romeo with his nose cone. But Foxy Red, he's going to peel to the outside. Warris tries to block it. Here goes Foxy with that switchback, and he gets the inside line, gets the move done. Warris cuts the corner on the inside line. That's going to give Harry a good run on him, but Harry unable to get the move on. But Foxy, that's 2 times he's used that move now of cutting back at the last moment. Fantastic racecraft from the Alfa Romeo. He's finally up into 2nd position, and Warrislander unfortunately has to relent that position. The gap now between Jump Line and Harry down to 4.6 seconds, so it's coming down lap on lap as Warris then picks up 3 seconds as well. So that's how you compound a bad lap, and Warris gets a poor exit out the final corner as well, and that's going to put him under threat from Harry, and Harry's going to close right up to the McLaren, and Warris is under real threat of losing 2nd position and 3rd position in consecutive laps.
Yeah, that really then now, because I believe Warrislander, that's his second 3-second time penalty. I don't believe as Warris and Foxy swap positions yet again. Foxy just about hanging on, and Warrislander now, here we go. Can Warrislander send one around the outside? They're side by side. Who's going to be late on the brakes there? The hand comes out of the McLaren right on board, and Foxy just about hangs onto it, but that now allows Harry dips a tyre onto the grass, but surely not Harry going to send one around the outside here. Surely he certainly is. Wow, but Warrislander, oh my god, this is unbelievable. Bloody hell, I don't want to look. It's like a horror movie. I'm expecting one humongous crash there, but somehow they have managed to keep it on track, going side by side for at least 3 corners there, and Warrislander just about hangs on to 3rd place, and that's allowed Foxy to get somewhat of a breather. But yes, as I was saying, Warrislander's got at least 6 seconds, and I believe also Foxy has as well, which is going to easily allow John Polainen to sneak into the podium places now, because he's less than 4 seconds behind this battle.
We've got 3 laps left to go in this race. Hercules is leading by 9 seconds to Foxy. Warrislander and Harry are battling over 3rd position on track. You can see we've got a couple of ghosted cars with the likes of Beck 9000 and Meg Lugby involved here. Here comes Harry. Warris tries to cut him off at the last moment, but Harry's still down the inside. Warrislander's going to have to yield the corner, surely. Harry down the inside line. Warris is going to stick it round. We're going to go side by side around the next complex of corners. No, Harry finally gets past Warrislander at the 3rd attempt and gets up into 3rd position on track. Warris not giving up the position whatsoever. He will be frustrated once again that he started up the field and he's losing positions off of the podium. He's still trying to look to the inside of Harry. It's such a fast speed corner, the final 2 corners, that it's very hard to even consider an overtake there, and you can see Warris all over the track using all of the runoff to try and get an advantage going up into the with the DRS straight into turn 1. Not close enough against Harry this time, and he cuts corner there on the entry at turn 1. Can he get a good toe on the Williams heading up towards turn 3 and behind? You can see Jumpalainen is well within eyeshot of these guys, so it's going to be very, very nicely done for Jumpalainen from the back of the field on these tyres. He's doing absolutely impeccably to hold on to the position, and he's going to, by the looks of it, just consistently drive himself into a podium, as we've still got this battle going on between Harry and the Warrislander. Behind, Speed Queen's caught up to the back of Fountain. She's only 0.8 of a second behind, but it's the closest battle on track between Warris and Harry over 3rd position on track. But I think these guys need to start looking behind them, because at the moment they've got a Renault that's very slowly catching them, but with only 2 laps left to go, as Hercules has just started his penultimate lap of the race. It looks as though he's going to make it maximum points, but behind, he'll be frustrated that these guys couldn't keep it on the black stuff, as here comes the Warrislander into turn 1. He's going to get the move done on Harry. Does Harry stick with him? He doesn't. He yields this time, and he's going to try and use the slipstream up in towards turn 3, but you can see DRS not activated for either on the upwards towards the turn 3, so that was a strange decision for either. It looked as though both had the opportunity of using DRS, but you can see Warrislander and Harry both gaining it, so unless they're getting it off just about, Warrislander still getting off of Foxy right behind. He was just within that 1 second mark, but he goes deep into turn 4, and we're now on the last lap of the race, Sab. Hercules leading this round, and he's going to take an absolute, once again, another dominant victory here on Monday night.
Yeah, most definitely. Here he comes now around the final corner. He runs a little bit wide there, but yes, thoroughly deserved. Checkered flag for him. Another dominating race for himself. He was helped, I'd say. Oh, Warrislander. Oh my God, I thought Warrislander put it into the wall there at the end. He come out of the final corner too hot and almost went into the barrier, and there we have it. Jean Polainen, P3 from the back of the grid. Superb driving from himself after what seemed to be a disaster start for him. We're getting that 5-second penalty. He finishes 3rd on those soft tyres. Paid off in the end with that aggressive strategy. And just further down, I feel sorry for the likes of Warrislander and Foxy Red, because the pair of them deserve to be on the podium tonight, and unfortunately penalties have bit them hard, and they've just finished outside of the podium there. But huge congratulations to the Red Bull driver of Hercules. Once again, like last week, absolutely dominated the night, and as soon as he broke that DRS activation zone, it was all over, wasn't it, for the rest of the field, and there was no catching him.
No, it was another masterclass from the German driver. We said that he was the danger man to look out for this evening. The Red Bull driver did not let us down. He picks up his 5th victory on the season. his second in a row after his victory in Singapore, and in fact in the last 4 races he's taken 3 wins and a second place finish, so he's finishing the season in red hot form. But after Jumpalainen, what can you say? He's just so consistent. He drives so well, and you can see there the top 3 without any penalties. Congratulations, as Hercules takes the win in 42 minutes and 35 seconds, or 1:07.3 is his best time. Harry in second position. Jumpline, you can see 15th to 3rd. Warislander in 4th, with Foxy down to 5th. Sam in 6th, with Klaskia, good result, in 7th. Burmeister in 8th. Fountain and Speaker in round out the points, with Meg Lugby unfortunately retiring late on, with Beck 9000, Simon, Alex and Charlie leaving us during the safety car that we saw after about 9 seconds of the race distance. But yeah, it's Jumpalainen that just about loses 5 points in the championship. That means it's a 12-point gap between himself and Hercules with 2 races left to go. So the championship is still there to be decided between the two, and we go to Brazil next week with the pair battling over position. But Jumpalainen will be pretty pleased with himself, I can imagine, that he manages to get this podium this evening and hold on to a decent position, because after starting in 15th you'd think that he would have a bit of a battle on his hands, but even after that early pit stop it didn't stop him at all. Fantastic consistency from the Finn. He fights his way through the field and utilises penalties for the likes of Warislander and Foxy to move up into 3rd position. And yeah, it's another podium for Harry as well. It's 5th on the season for him. His second place finish of the season. Picked up a 2nd place in Bahrain. And of course 3 third-place finishes in Hungary, Russia and Italy. So Harry equally finishing off the season in some pretty decent form as well. We know that he's a former race winner here on Monday. So it's a decent result for these guys, isn't it, Sab?
Yes, it most definitely is. We just wait now for the rest of the podium to get in here. We do have Jumpalainen in with us at the moment, just waiting on Harry and Hercules. But yeah, you say the points tally is come down now, so it's only going to make it more interesting for us. As there we are, the rest of the podium now finally join us, and this week I'll let you get on with the questions. Now all these guys are ready to talk to us, and I just want to say quickly, just make sure your mics are on, set to allow to be shared for the broadcast, and we'll be able to hear you during the stream.
Yeah, so I'll kick off with our race winner. Of course, that is Hercules. 2nd win in a row, third win in 4 races. We saw you, of course, practicing on Sunday night. We saw how fast you were. Decent result for you tonight.
Yeah, good qualifying. There was a little bit more in the tank, but yeah, I'm happy that they could do that lap on the lobby it counted. And the race, to be honest, I was pushing all the time, and I was a little bit of fear because after this pitch there can be a safety car after every lap, and yeah, but then I had the mediums on after the stop, and after I did a few laps there, I could pull a gap. I wasn't really scared then of a safety car. I don't know why it came out at the start, to be honest, and it quite pissed me off, but yeah, the pace was alright. I could pull away, get a nice gap, and they were fighting really hard. I could feel that, and yeah, I'm happy that I could win this to be in the championship, and congratulations to the rest of the podium.
Yeah, I mean, it's 12 points the gap between yourself and Jumpalainen with 2 races left to go. Of course, 32 points still on the table, so there's plenty options of catching him. But I mean, just going back to the start of the race, and of course you're on pole, you've lined up on the pole. The green lights are, and then we went to a safety car. We think it's around about 10 seconds after the race started. What's that like? Because obviously you're ready to start the race, you're just about off the first corner, and then you're immediately back under the dropping down the speed and having to slow down for the safety car. So obviously you've got yourself prepared for the start, and then you have to go back to a rolling start. So it's a completely different scenario. So how did you prepare yourself for getting back into the groove after a very, very early stop for the safety car?
Yeah, I was quite relaxed because it was lap 1, so there was no option to pit early because he would not make it to the end with a medium tire. So yeah, I just watched my tire and warned the guys behind me because I had another race where I was behind a safety car and I crushed my front wing at the restart phase. So I want the mate to wear my party. Um, yeah, because there's nothing you can really do because the safety car really slows you down. And then you are waiting, and at the last two corners, there always happens something at the restart. But yeah, I was quite relaxed because it was at the first lap, so I wasn't thinking about a stop or something.
Well, congratulations, fifth win on the season for you. Great result, and we head to Brazil next week, looking to see if you can carry on this good form. On to Harry, another second place, a decent. That's what 3 podiums in 4 races for you. So you're ending the season in pretty nice style. You're making third place your own at the moment.
Yeah, I think that's all I really can do, to be honest. I think Jompalainen and I think the top 6 or 7 have been really good all year, but I think Hercules and Jompalainen are just that little bit quicker than everyone else. So, in the championship, I think that's the best I can do really now. Just try and get third place. Sweating because I think I was fighting the entire race, but no, I was really pleased actually. I enjoyed it.
I mean, you say you're fighting the entire race, and we saw an absolutely magnificent battle between yourself, Foxy Red, and Warrislander for, yeah, as you say, like 20 laps, and then especially that battle with Warrislander at the end. You seem to be side by side for about a lap and a half. So, how do you go into that? Is it just trust and respect between the drivers that you? Because we saw there was a little bit of wheel banging, but nothing too aggressive.
Yeah, I mean, I was quite patient at the start of the race. I think I was behind Foxy at the start, I think. And I immediately realised I think I had too much downforce on. I wasn't particularly that quick in a straight line. And then I know they both had penalties, so I was like, okay, I'll let them sort of sort it out. And then I saw Foxy get past because Wallace had quite bad tyres, and I was like, oh, and then I began to sort of push myself to get past Wallace just in case Foxy broke a gap. But no, I really enjoyed it, and no, they're both quite hard races, but it was a good race.
Yeah, well, congratulations, another decent result for you, another podium. And on to Jumpalainen. What a result for you. Weren't able to make qualifying, started at the back, had to pit on lap 1 because of damage, and coming through and picking up a podium. You've got to be pretty happy with that.
Yeah, I'll definitely take that. It was a weird race. A lot of stuff happening. And yeah, I had to pit on lap 1. There was some couple who had an incident ahead of me and got caught up in it. So first I selected the hard, so I figured see how they work if they can go to the end. But the game put me on soft, so yeah, drove along, saw that I could do half the race on the soft, so I went for a second stint on them. And I think it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I mean the stint worked pretty nicely, and in fact your third stint you were really starting to catch the likes of Harry and Foxy ahead, and of course they were battling, so that was allowing you to catch up time. Were you aware of the fact that they were sitting on penalties, and did you think that third place was a potential?
I knew Foxy had penalties, and Warrislander I only knew at the end when he got overtaken by Harry. Because I didn't check the race director, I just asked for the driver in front of me. So yeah, I just kept trying to catch up
and is another fastest lap for yourself this evening. So that means that your gap between yourself and Hercules is now at 13 points. So you've still got a decent lead with 2 races left to go. We've got Brazil coming up next. Is it a track that you're thinking you could possibly win the championship at with a good result?
I hope so. It's a fun track, kind of like this one, pretty much short track with a couple of corners and yeah, lots of heavy braking zones. So it's a fun track, and I hope I'll do well there.
Well, congratulations, and yeah, just one final word from the race winner, Hercules. You said at the weekend that Brazil's not one of your favourites. But obviously now, with Jumpalainen picking up that podium tonight, you're definitely going to have to pick up some more points on him. So I guess you'll be practicing for that one for the next few days.
Yeah, that was the same thoughts I had after the race. Yeah, let's see. I mean, I'm not really bad, but I remember me quite struggling in quali in Brazil, and yeah, let's see. But I will be prepared.
Well, yeah, we can't wait for it. It's going to be a two-race showdown between yourself and Jump Line for the championship. Congratulations, guys! Fantastic race tonight, and fantastic win for Hercules. Brilliant pole position as well, and an equally a fight back for Jumper Line and Harry involved in one of the battles of the season. So yeah, you're welcome to shoot off, guys. It was a fantastic one. Make sure you catch the race back later. It was great fun to call. And Sab, just to wrap up. I mean, we had everything there. We had safety cars after seconds of the race starting. We had VSCs. We had a side-by-side battle for several laps between 2 or 3 cars, and we had Jumper Linen coming through from 15th to pick up a third place finish and possibly give himself a really good chance at clinching that first IRL title in Brazil next week.
Yeah, it's all lining up, isn't it? But never say never in Formula One, don't you? It could easily swing the other direction. One mistake here or there, and suddenly it could be in the hands of Hercules next week. So who knows how Brazil's going to play out. If the Hercules carries on the way he's going, then you would imagine he'd be one of the favourites yet again to grab the victory. But with Jean Paul and possibly in qualifying next week, you'd imagine he would push him a bit closer than what he managed to this week. But yeah, what a race we had. I could not believe it. I said to you, didn't I, before the stream went live, it'd be interesting to see if there was a safety car comes out. I didn't quite expect it to be within 9 or 10 seconds. That was very surprising. I think it caught a few guys out, and unfortunately it caught Charlie out just before the start of the race again. So yeah, it was fascinating to see some good battles throughout the field as well. I watched towards the end, there was a half decent battle between White Fountain and Speed Queen as well, fighting over the minor points position places there. So yeah, that's battle for second place. That was definitely one to watch back if you haven't watched it tonight.
Yeah, really enjoyed that one, and that completes round 10 of 12. 2 more races left to go. Brazil next week, and we round out the season in a fortnight's time in Mexico City at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. And yeah, I mean that's us done pretty much for this evening. Next up on Tuesday, we've got Malc and Tim in the commentary box for the Realistic Performance League, and of course on Wednesday, 2 leagues, IRL F2 and F3. Dan and Morrisland are covering F2 and Malc covering F3. You can find that all here on the YouTube channel. So if you're not subscribed already, click that button down below and subscribe to be notified when we go live. Ding the bell next to the subscribe button. And equally, if you've enjoyed the race tonight, if you've enjoyed what Sab and I bring to you each Monday, make sure you press that like button. Helps us out massively with the recommendations and the algorithm through YouTube. And for those involved in the league, in those are drivers and part of the community, if you'd like to be the Invictus Premium membership, you can always go to the website and go to the Invictus page where you can get yourself signed up for a premium membership at just £5. You can sign up, get yourself a guaranteed seat for next season, car choice priority, teammate choice priority at the start of the negotiation period, exclusive access to the upcoming season calendar before anyone else knows it, and of course the priority entrance into the community event, the Nations Cup, that will be coming up at the end of next season, and a chance to win an end of season giveaway. It'd be a £20 or equivalent in dollar or euro for your currency PSN voucher to spend on something over the coming week. So yeah, plenty of potential for you to get a little bit back, as well as helping out the league. So you can go to the Invictus section on the website. And of course, guys, find us on InvictusRacingLeague.com, InvictusRA on Twitter and Instagram, Invictus Racing League on Facebook. You can find Sab and I at GT2_driving, for myself at Alan Sabatino, for Sab on Twitter. If you'd like to find out more about what we do, of course, we're more than happy to answer any questions. But for this week and for round 10 in Austria, the IRL F1 League, we are signing off with an absolute banger of a race, and we will be back in Interlagos next week. Have a very, very good week. We hope to see Tuesday and Wednesday here at Invictus Racing League. But from Sab and I, very good night.